Perfecto. Iluminación ready. ¿Se me escucha bien? Sí. Ok. Perfecto. Muy bien. Muy buenas a todos y bienvenidos a Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Episodio, sinceramente no tengo ni idea. Seguramente sea el episodio 20, 18 o así. A ver, vamos a comprobarlo rápidamente, que tampoco... Hace que no grabo un episodio de Ace Attorney. La tira. Mira, era justo el episodio número 20. Que tuve un par de cortes por ahí. Bueno, no me acuerdo de nada prácticamente de cómo lo dejé, ¿vale? Pero vamos a... Aquí. Del 20 de agosto. Es una broma, ¿no? Ahora mismo, el momento en que estoy grabando, estoy a 14 de octubre. Hace prácticamente 2 meses que no grabo de Phoenix Wright. Hostia, tú. Wow. En fin, hazme un poco de memory. A ver. 11:56. Aún falta una hora de court. A ver. Mr. Wright? What? Are trials always like this with you? Like you're swimming up from the bottom of a lake, about to reach the surface, but no matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there. Yeah, pretty much. Except today we're swimming in quicksand. So what happened to your sister anyway? Apparently she got called off to the judge's chambers. Probably something to do with that piece of cloth. So, this is where we turn this trial around, right? Our only weapon, a tiny, insignificant piece of cloth. Si había algo de la ropa que no cuadraba con el sitio. And the one who's starting to feel tiny and insignificant, to tell the truth. Hola, partner! ¿Esta es la Lola? Ah, no, este es el sheriff. They say you show a red cloth to a bull. It will fire up its temper. Bueno, en general, cualquier color que sea llamativo. Pero bueno, that's what they told me when I was young, at least. Officer Marshall? Though, I'd come take a look-see at how the trial's going. Looks like I'm late. They've got the home range locked down tighter than a fort in enemy territory. Pero bueno, que se está afeitando aquí. They're hard to sleep out, huh? What is going on over there, anyway? All the police I've seen these last 2 days have been really on edge. Don't you got enough on your plate without worrying about other people, compadre? You could be worrying about the chief prosecutor's tasty mufflers, for example. Officer Marshall? The whole muffler thing didn't have anything to do with scarves. She wasn't even wearing a scarf. You don't say. Now, don't that just beat all? I've seen the red breeze blow at her slender neck many a time. I saw it that day too. She was wearing a red muffler. ¿Cómo? At the award ceremony that afternoon, Edge was seeing it too, I reckon. What does that mean? In the photograph taken at the crime scene, she wasn't wearing a scarf. So, Miss Starr wasn't mistaken. Well, it's about time. Remember, partner, sometimes you gotta grab the bull by the horns, and sometimes you just gotta let that bull go where it will. Time will tell. I have a bad feeling about this. So, what are we swimming in now, Mr. Wright? If it's thick sauce, I can hook you up with some fine ribs. Uy. Este tío, yo no comprendo. Esta gente, ¿qué es lo que dice? Si estás viendo este vídeo, hidrátate, es importante para tu salud. ¿Se ve suficientemente bien desde aquí, en esta distancia? No tengo que bajar la cámara, no, ¿para qué? Un pelito. Madre mía, qué tiquismiquis que soy. I'd like to resume. What up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution. Is something wrong, Mr. Edgeworth? Your face is blue, your lips are purple, you're sweating bullets. That furrow brow, those grinding teeth, those watery eyes. What's more, your eyes are unfocused. You're doubled over. What? It can't be. This can't happen? I wonder what happened to Mr. Edgeworth. Well then, I believe it is time we continued on with this trial. During our research I had... This is unacceptable! It seems our prosecutor is quite beside himself. Excuse me, knock knock? Who's there? The fuck? What's with this guy? A strange stuffy aura seems to be filling the courtroom. Tengo tantas preguntas. Primero, ¿por qué tiene tantas rayas en el ojo? ¿Por qué tiene estas gafas así? ¿Y qué cojones es esta cruz del señor que lleva de corbata? No sé. Hey, the temperature rose 5.7 degrees when that man came in. Who on earth is he? Hot! Oh, it's you. Hola, salvaje. Sorry I'm late. Haji, the roads were packed. It's just me. Long time no see, huh, Haji? How you been? Swim much these days? Oh, hello. No, I've been so busy. Busy? Busy's busy. Haji, my boy, you have to make time to relax. Yes, indeed. Haji? Judgy? Seems to be his nickname for the judge. I'm afraid you're right. Very afraid. I'm sorry, but who are you? So you're Wright-o, the attorney. I've heard good things about you, son. Thanks? So sorry about our little Wolfie giving you all that trouble, eh? You know, we should all go swimming together sometime, jolly. Little Wolfie? Mr. Wright, you don't know the district chief of police? Chief of police? ¿Cómo? He's the top-ranking police officer in the entire district. Joder, está amazado, ¿eh? Otra cosa no, pero esta gente está... va bastante al gimnasio. Name's Kent. Damon Kent. Pleased to meet you, everyone. Este tío tiene que tener una de mierda... A ver. A lo mejor ahora sí me escucháis un poco más fuerte. Bueno. So, what do we owe this honor today? It's been over 2 years since you last came to this courtroom, hasn't it? Well, it's worthy here. Look at the poor fellow. I just thought I'd help out by bringing this. Hey, that's my sister's muffler. So Mrs. Stark wasn't just seeing things. When the crime occurred, Miss Sky really was wearing that muffler. But to think that it was stuffed into that exhaust pipe. Oh, little Wolfie's car, no less. ¿Cómo? It's really quite embarrassing, even for us. What's that? It's what you'd call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing, it is. Chief, what kind of outfit are you running? Mr. Edgeworth, how could they miss such a vital piece of evidence? If your investigators are these lags, how do you expect us to do our job? Now, wait a minute, Worthy. I've no desire to hear your excuses. I'm telling you to wait. Or didn't you hear me? Have a look at this document, where it says person in charge of investigation. There's no mistaking that signature, is there? Miles Edgeworth? That's not fair. On the day of the crime, I had your head in the clouds because you got that award. I know how you feel. But you are the person in charge. I'll expect a written apology. What? Are you serious? Madre mía, que le ha hecho la 13-14 a Edgy. Nuestro bro. Don't be too upset. We'll find a way to clean up this mess that you made. This is the first time I've ever seen Mr. Edgeworth at a loss for words. This kind of major blunder is unlike you, Mr. Edgeworth. The court accepts this new evidence, but I'd like to ask the defense a favor first. Yes? Just to be sure. I'd like to take a look at the blade of this knife. The blade, Your Honor? Well, I don't see why not. Could you open it for me, I wonder? Yes, well, I think all you have to do is push that switch and... If I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I wouldn't be able to pound my gavel anymore. Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I wouldn't be able to point at people anymore, or to do... BOM! Come on, just hurry up and open it. Dios, pero ¿cuántas pruebas había aquí? Me cago en... Para recordar yo esto. What? Don't scare me like that. Que te reviento. I'm the one who's scared. Look at this knife blade. The tip is broken off. And this dark red stain. Blood? Found at the crime scene, wrapped in the defendant's muffler. Small tag attached. This does not excuse the actions of the police department. I would like to hear an explanation from the chief of police himself. I'm terribly sorry, but could I ask you to testify for us about the split between the prosecutors and the police and this knife? Sure thing. Not a problem, not even a little one, really. Dios, me parece podría meterle voz de Joker incluso para hacerlo un poquito más tenso. This knife is special, but I can say how here, unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed at the police department, see? What a mess. The time of the crime, 5:15. Scary coincidence here. It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. No me convence del todo. There was a murder at the police department? A detective? That's who shows information. Oye, we haven't exactly announced it yet. Wait a second. You said 5:15. That's the exact time that Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office. Order! Anyway, we at the department were all flustered, as you might well assume. We are in the middle of a top secret investigation. Don't tell anyone, okay? I think we understand the police department situation. Well, Mr. Wright, two detectives killed at the same time in two different places. The chances of that are really slim, scientifically speaking, of course. I'd like to exercise my right to cross-examine the witness. Este tío va a tener una cantidad de mierda como un vertedero de grande. A ver. Ahora le presionamos en todo, ¿vale? Pero me gustaría a mí... A ver, no, we believe I was a defense attorney fighting carried it by investigators ID. Found the prosecutor office crime scene, okay. He went to Edgeworth, killed the prosecutors at the PD on the day of the murder. ¿Vale? The murder weapon, usually in Edgeworth's toolbox. Usually. No toolbox, no prints. Record of parking in the prosecutor's office law. Entered at 5:12. A work of art designed by the chief detective and created by Detective Camshaw. Death due to loss of blood. One knife wound. Died within an hour and a half. Of 4 p.m. Victim memo found in the car trunk. That it? SL? 92. There's a small tag on the knife. It says SL9 too. What's that supposed to mean? I'm not sure, but it reminds me of a similar code. DL6? Maybe it's a case number. That's weird. What? I don't remember where, but I think I've seen something like this before. Something similar to what's written this time. It wasn't that long ago either. I should check the code. Vale, de aquí, el SL no sé qué. ¿Es esto? ¿De qué será esto entonces? SL92. SL92. ¿De algo será? Joder. Loco, ya. Vale, bueno. But I can say how here. Este es especial, pero ¿por qué? A ver, cuéntame. Excuse me. Special? Hard to come by this particular knife anywhere else. Might that special thing be this little tag? Oh, sorry, writer, but I can't say that now. Not that. We established that the knife in Goodman's chest was this knife. Now, why was there another knife at the scene of the crime? That's quite a mystery. And like a mystery, it's wrapped in something. That's a muffler. There's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. Was found on the scene of the crime. I think that makes it connected to the case, don't you? See, there's other things that go on in the department I can't explain. It's delicate, okay? Sorry, Wright? Vale, entonces creo... Es que no me acuerdo de casi nada de esto, ¿sabes? A ver qué puede ser. Vale, vamos a hacer una cosa. Voy a guardar por si acaso, porque no quiero quedarme sin intentos de nada. Trial later. Me parece muy bien. Presento. ¿Y esto? ¿Puede ser? Wait a second. Oh! At last, an honest to goodness objection. This knife, this has to have something to do with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? An honest to goodness, what do you mean from Aji? This is great. Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL92. And this is important, why? Over here we also have a memo that was on the body of the victim. Ah, coño. SL92. ¡Ay, mi madre! Al revés. Que soy un genio, pero no lo sabía, ¿sabes? What's this? 6 minus 7s. 12 divided into 2. Your Honor, it's upside down. Upside down. Madre! The printed name on the memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around and what do you get? ¿Cómo? 221 SL9. Whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down. SL9. That's the same thing that is written on the knife tag. Order, order! Well, Chief? Oh well. I guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, righto? I win? What game is this guy playing? This knife was evidence in the case. It was stolen from the apartment. ¿Cómo? So this knife was stolen? Yes, but on the day of the murder. It was evidence, you say? Was it, in fact, a murder weapon? Nice, nice, nice. Good show, little Worthy. It was a murder weapon, as it happens. It was evidence from a case long since solved. So this knife was stolen on the day of the murder. And it was found in the exhaust pipe of Edgeworth's car. Hard to think there isn't a connection there. That was a bad day for the department. We were in a ship to do. ¿Por qué? Something happened at the police department too, huh? You got a good look in your eyes there, right, my boy? Sharp, hungry. So something did happen. Why wasn't I informed? Why weren't you informed? Well, why didn't you ask? No matter, I understand. You were busy. What with Lana's case and all? Well, what happened? What happened at the police department that day? Detective was killed at the police department. See, what a mess. But what detective? On the same day that the detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department? That's a fact. Surprising, isn't it, Achi? I'm at loss for words. And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested them, in fact. Just arrested? That was quick. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, righto? I suppose I could help, if you help me by giving me data on your case. Oh, good one. This kid's sharp. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing, and one thing only. lo puedo jugar de esta manera. Pero está poniendo una presión en este juego que no es normal. How the victim was killed. ¿Cómo mataron a... ¿Cuándo? A las 5:15. Pero es cuando encontraron el cuerpo. ¿Dónde? En el Police Department. ¿En qué lugar? No sé, pero... ¿Cómo es lo que me falta? Well, how was the detective killed? How was he killed? Now, that's the interesting part. It was what we in the force call a stabbing with a knife. A knife? That's exactly the same as Detective Goodman. That's the spirit we're cooking now. But you know, that's not the only thing that was exactly the same. What do you mean? There were more similarities between the two cases than the cause of death. It seems like I'm going to have to press this a bit harder. The time of the crime, 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? 5:15? But that's when Detective Goodman was killed in prosecutor's office. What? Funny, isn't it? A murder at the prosecutor's place and a murder at our place at the very same time. What are the chances? Coincidence? This is just my gut feeling, but I'd say there's an 0.001% chance of that happening. Chief Gann, please tell us more about the incident. The official link to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. How can you say there's no connection? How? Because I'm the chief of police. I can just say anything I please, righto? You understand? Try to understand, righto? Judge, no me llames righto, cuidado. Well, if you can prove there is a connection, more power to you. Maybe there is something that ties the two murders together? Whatever it is, I better find it and get to the bottom of this. Two detectives were killed, one at the prosecutor's office, and one at the police department. That can't be a coincidence. And that knife, what was it doing there? I better check this knife out. Where was the victim found? Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say the crime took place in the evidence room at the police department. The evidence room? The evidence room? Didn't he mention that in his testimony just now? Ahí está. You seem happy, Mr. Wright. Happy? We just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case. With the link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gang to testify about the details. Ahora sí. ¿No? ¿Cómo que no? ¿Qué pena no es ni qué pollas? Chief, the defense position is simple this. The connection between these two cases has already been proven. Hey, you don't say. Well, out with it, right? What's the connection? So tenía que presionar, tío, pero qué asco de juego a ratos, tío. Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright. The connection is a place mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention the victim had on him the case number on the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed in that very same evidence room. Indeed. Well, there do seem to be many connections for it to be a coincidence. You two make a good pair. It took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced right here. Chief, I request that you release your information to the victim at the police department. See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet and all. Can we get the information unofficially? Sure, why not? It's unofficial after all. What? Really? Who would have guessed? I'll cooperate, but I can't reveal the name of the victim at the department, okay? You're going to tell us a little, why not tell us everything? Ah, well, case information is sticky stuff. I have to do everything properly. Oh well, I guess I might as well try to get what I can out of him. Victim's ID number. Madre mía que le pillamos. Okay, how about you tell me the victim's ID number? Sure, why not? It's not like you'll be able to tell it from that. Of course not. You won't tell me their name after all. We keep a tight lid on ID numbers, so don't go getting your hopes up. The number is... Se viene. 5842-189. Well, that's quite long. And we have to remember this. It drives me nuts. 82... Oh, I can't do it. You didn't even get the first number right. What is that? Does this tell you anything? This tells me something. Boom! Golpe en la mesa. Actually, it does, Your Honor. It does. I think. Meaning? It has to be what I think it is. But what does it mean? Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You say the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department tells you something. Boom. Boom! Boom! Presento! Take that! Boom. Madre mía. Witness. What is it, Mr. Wright? You're grinding like a schoolgirl on prom night. No, it's just, I got confused. And it's news? Just come out with both guns blazing, like you always do. Two places, two detectives murder at one time. Es el mismo. Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here. Oh, is it yours? No, Your Honor. I'm a defense attorney, remember? This is the ID number of our victim, Detective Goodman. Shame on you, Wright. Personal IDs are top secret. Detective Goodman's ID number is 5842-189. And? This means what exactly? Huh? Wait, that ID number we heard from the chief earlier, that started with 82? I've forgotten. You didn't even get the first number right again! The number the chief of police gave us was 5842-189. Wait a second, right? What does this mean? That's what I want to know. The two ID numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. What does our witness think about that? Oh! Sharp as a tack, righto? Sharp as a tack. But wait! Detective Goodman is our victim. He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot. Yet, a detective Bruce Goodman was also killed at the police department in the evidence room at the exact same time. That's impossible. So what we're saying is the same person was killed at the same time and in a completely different location. It means that he was not killed in the auto. He was killed in the detective room. No. What I want to know is, why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret, fine, but I'm the prosecutor in charge of the case. Now, just you wait a second, Worthy. No need to get all flustered. Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case. Wait. I said wait. Or didn't you hear me? Se ha puesto medio serio de golpe, eh? The oversight, the grave error, Mr. Edgeworth. They are yours. What? How dare? We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our officer Meekings who brought you the news. Officer Meekings? Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Wait. Hostia, el Rock Lee este. Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir. You don't mean him. According to Meekings, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe. But your officer, he told me. He said the report had nothing to do with Lana Sky incident. Detective Bruce Goodman, murder in the police department evidence room. Mr. Edgeworth, the victim's name is written right on the top of the report. Why didn't your officer tell me? Honestly, I'm not sure if that officer was capable of making the connection. He did seem challenged. In any case, this is a serious error, a gross negligence of duty on your part, Wolfie. But sir, you could have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence. Then I... ¿Le va a hacer un chante al Edgeworth? No such luck this time, Worthy, or should I say unworthy? ¿Cómo? ¡Madre mía! ¿Cómo le ha hecho un dis en con todas las de la ley? What? Now, what was the second rule of evidence law? Well, Mr. Wright? Huh? Oh, well, it's Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And how is this rule relevant? Normally, you submit a list of evidence to be used in court before trial. This report wasn't on that list. So, what does this mean? I couldn't submit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. The connection was just proven by Wright over here. Good job, Wright, my boy. I was doing my job. No. No! Dios. It seems we have to come to the end of this trial. I know you're going through a tough time, Worthy, with all those rumors. You weren't even in the defender's chair just this past December. I apologize for this terrible lack of due diligence on my part. Mr. Edgeworth, please, just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened, if it's the last thing I do. You'd better get results this time, really. You have my profound apologies, sir. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. I will grant one for the day, as the prosecution has requested. Will that be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Whatever your punishment for this, for your sake, I hope it's not decisive. Very well, court is adjourned. Y hasta aquí el vídeo. To be continued, madre mía. Bueno, yo voy a seguir grabando porque quiero terminar la serie hoy, esta misma tarde. Son las 4:20 de la tarde. No sé cuándo voy a terminarlo, pero yo tengo ganas, ¿vale? Al siguiente episodio de investigación. Y por aquí lo vamos a dejar. Muchas gracias por ver el episodio. Espero que os haya gustado, que lo hayáis disfrutado. Y nos vemos en la próxima, con más y mejor. Hasta la próxima. Adiós.